Hi, everyone. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and joining us today. Just to introduce myself really quick, my name is Via, and I'll be your host on Behind the Business for the next hour. I've been working with AT24 as a strategic partnerships representative for a year now. And if you guys are unfamiliar, 1824 is Universal Music Group's culture marketing and content strategy team, focused on the connection of artists and brands directly to fans through storytelling and experiences. Our offerings include everything from content creation to ideation, creator partnerships, digital marketing, PR, and of course, live streaming here on UMG's official Twitch channel 3.5. We have an amazing episode of Behind the Business for you guys today, and I'm so excited to introduce our amazing, wonderful, accomplished guest. Chase Solomon is here with us today. She's the Senior Director of Creative Production at Capitol Records. Chase's career bridges marketing, career or culture, and music, leveraging her background in social and influencer marketing to create campaigns and visuals for artists like Ice Spice, Kali Uchis, JT, and Doechii. She knows how to make artist identities really pop while also connecting really deeply with audiences around the world. This conversation is going to be an incredible resource for anyone interested in the music industry, marketing, or creative production. Chase, we're so excited to have you here. Welcome.
Hi, thank you, thank you.
We do have some great questions prepared, but to everyone watching, please make sure to ask your questions in the chat, and we'll do our best to get to as many as possible. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, so just to start us off, Chase, can you tell us a little bit about your current role as Senior Director of Creative Production at Capitol Records, and then maybe a little bit about your journey, like how you got here and how your career path led you from where you started to where you are now?
Yeah, no, I'm still figuring that out. So my role, as of now is to basically own all the elements of creative for each artist. So, when you think through all the different things that you see on an artist campaign, from their photo shoots, their music videos, the psychs that you see, billboards, like all of those elements kind of touch my desk. I kind of start with like building, the worlds that we now call artists and or that artists need to like build out in order to, get fans and things of that sort. So my job is to really strategically think through what that world will be and then execute across all of those different things. So
Mhm.
um, at times it sounds, creative takes different space. At times it sounds like, oh, it's not a lot to do. And then at times it's so much to do because what I do and what my team does is inform, in essence, the vision for artists.
Yeah, no,
Mm.
that makes sense. I can imagine. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yes, of course. Yeah, that I can imagine that's a lot of moving parts at all times. And I know you started in, like I said in the little intro, like social and influencer marketing. So I guess like how did um, your career path lead you from that into music and like creative production?
Yeah, so it's so interesting. I was always interested in like marketing, multicultural marketing to be precise, and I kind of had an idea that I liked music. I had friends in college that were like A&Rs and like
Mhm.
kind of buzzing around the music scene because I went to college in Nashville, so that's a music hub. So I was always like
Oh yeah.
around it. And then when I moved to LA, I just, worked through different marketing agencies, and that was like influencer marketing and social media marketing and different things like that. And I think an opportunity came up for me to have like some time, to
Mhm.
myself. And so I PA'd, I did different things to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. And I landed on like the music industry. I was like, I really want to be in the music industry. So um, I started like my first music job was quite interesting. It was at a um, brand, a guitar company called Fender, and I led production on all of their creative assets. And so for me, that was like my first job in music, even though I had been around it and at the different marketing agencies and had music clients and things like that. So that was my first like in music job. And then from
Right.
there, I just put my sights on a label and honestly just manifested it. And
Mhm.
And now I'm here and I genuinely love what I do.
Yes, that's so great to hear. This is proof that manifestation works. You
Oh,
heard it
babe.
here first.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm about to start writing like a million times in my journal, like and light candles and everything.
I'm a true believer. Yeah.
Yes. Well, also more about like your current position as senior director. You're not just like executing ideas, but also leading teams and like being at the forefront of that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
In your team, like how do you foster creativity while also making sure that deadlines and big campaign goals are met?
I mean, I think there's a little bit of like controlled chaos to it, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. Like, you know, one thing you'll realize about the music industry is like things always shift. Everything's malleable. So it's very different from like when I was on the brand side where you're kind of like stuck to these dates and you have to work back from these dates. It's like we can shift release dates and we can it can come today and then it can come 2 weeks from now. So
Right.
I think there's a little bit of controlled chaos and there's a little organization within that as well. I quite honestly and I'm not a firm believer in just like killing yourself behind work. Like I like to approach things realistically. Um so I think it's like having with the team, oh sorry, so sorry. Team, we have, you know, we have our two bosses and we kind of all kind of lead it like from a family perspective. Like we all kind of are in this together. We're in this to kind of accomplish the goal, which is to get a song out and have people like it. And so, you know, I don't know. I feel like I'm not answering the question, but I feel like I'm giving the answer of like how we do it because there's no real answer to it. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
try to keep deadlines the best we can, but we're also realistic about it, and we're also like wanting to have fun and enjoy what we're doing while doing it. So I just
Right.
think attitude across the board on my team is how we get things done.
Yeah. Is that like something that you look for in someone like that you're bringing onto a project is like that positive, motivated, driven, yet also realistic and like grounded attitude?
Yeah, I'm very much an optimist, right? Like I don't like being
Me too.
told what I can't do. So it's like there's always a way to do it. And I'm super big on problem solving. If I and then, there's no real, I'll be quite honest, like in the music industry, there's no real training. So what's important is like someone that instinctually understands what's needed. That is super
Yeah.
important. If someone who's able to take a step back, look at the situation, and able to analyze and pinpoint the needs and where they can fulfill those needs, that to me is A1. And I take a lot of pride in being that type of person to be objective and be able to look at things and say, okay, this is how we solve the problem. Like, let's not lose our
Hmm.
heads. Um, and let's move forward in this way. I'm like a very like, what are the steps type of forward?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? What are the next steps? What are the action items? So that to me is very important in people. If
Oh yeah.
anybody wanted to be on the team or wanted to work with me, it's like, are you a problem solver? That's You could be anything else. You could be a serial killer as long as you're a problem solver.
As exactly, exactly. As long as you're a happy serial killer problem
Problem
solver,
solver.
we got you. No, I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. And I can imagine, like you said, like it's important to like keep everyone's heads on and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. Like I can imagine it gets like super high pressure. So I guess how do you personally like keep your team inspired during those like that crunch time?
I mean, we're not doing brain surgery. It's not brain surgery, but it is to some people it is. And so I think adding that level of like, this is artist's art, right? And
Yeah.
so to them it is their brain surgery, right? Their equivalent of that. So I think if you approach it with like you're delivering something, one of the most important pieces of somebody's life to
Hmm.
the world, like, and you take that type of energy towards it, you don't have to drive yourself crazy to do it, but you can, like, that I think that's just like the energy and the vibe that I approach things with. Like, this is
Yeah.
somebody's baby that we have to deliver to the world. It's not brain surgery for us, but like, let's do the best we can.
No, I think that's super important. And I really also like what you said about like making sure your team is all like working together like a big family. I think that's really sweet.
Yeah.
We do have a question from the chat from HR D'Amico. When you're creatively tapped, you're given all your good ideas. How do you repour your cup so you can keep creating?
It's so funny because work-life balance is not like a thing per se,
Yeah.
but I have the things that feed me. So my husband is also in the creative space. So we like there's someone in my life that understands my language and
Mhm.
that really helps me recoup on, the energy that I'm dispersing throughout.
Yeah.
I am super influenced by history. I love history. So I'm constantly it's ironic, I love history and true crime. But and a lot of history is true crime. So like there's that.
Mhm.
But I just I have like my outlets that I tap into, and the time that I do have free, I'm like usually layering into those things, and it really that's where some of my best ideas come from. It's like when I'm kind of in self mode and I'm exploring different things, I'm reading magazines. I just moved into a new home, and so like I'm decorating, and I would say like my living room feels like it's a room in a Dolce video. Like there's
Oh, I love
different things that
that.
that is fueling me. So now I know, how maybe I can bring that over here, or maybe I can explore it this way. So like that's it's a cycle, right? So I feed
Mhm.
myself, and then I'm able to feed, my ideas and concepts and things of that sort. So I've built a pretty amazing routine for myself that really kind of helps me stay in that cycle.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love like looking at other media aside
Mhm.
from music to get more like creative inspiration. I can imagine that like helps you keep things fresh and new too, because you're not just looking at what is this artist doing, you're looking at what is this like interior designer doing. Like that's just like a
Exactly.
completely
And
different
I like to
perspective.
like 100%. I like to see what brands are doing. So I'm not constantly
Yeah.
like just on what music and the music world is doing. I'm like, what is the general landscape, especially like fashion? That's a really big thing for me.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
what is fashion doing that we can then mimic? Because they often marry the two industries.
Mhm.
They often are, in essence, like sisters.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely agree with fashion. I'm rewatching Sex in the City right now, and
Oh
every
my God.
episode I'm like, okay, so I need to like be brainstorming. I just have so many thoughts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I guess the question from the chat goes really well into this next question, just more about your process. So when you like approach a new campaign, how do you balance your creative vision with the strategic goals in that campaign? Because I feel like that's like the secret sauce in making something not just look good, but actually land with the fans and the audience that you're trying to tap into.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, the number one ROI is like high streams, high visibility, like all of those things. So really it's like working closely with the PM to figure out what are the actual KPIs on it. Like what are we focused on? What do we want to do? Is this single to test? Is this single to blow up? Like what are the different things that we need to do for this song or album, or what, everybody wants a number one album. So like how are we
Mhm.
doing that? I kind of start there. And then I love to like think through all of the different elements that we'll be delivering on the campaign. And based on that, it helps me define what story we'll be telling. So it's like if we're only doing one video and a photo shoot, there's not too many elements to tell a story, right?
Right.
So you'll have your cover and then you have a video to go. I'll use like Cali as an example.
Mhm.
For this last campaign, we had so many elements that allowed us to tell such a beautiful story. So there were so many different pinpoints that we can communicate through what the campaign and what the album was about.
Mhm.
So it's like that's kind of how I approach it. Like, okay, what are the elements that I have to play with, and then what can from the the theme of the album, whatever it is, how can I layer in that storytelling throughout that? Honestly, it's a lot of I realize that it's a lot of the skills that I use while in marketing. It's just on
Mhm.
artists, a product or a show or something. It's like developing the themes, how communicating the themes, and then figuring out like how to layer into those themes once they've been communicated.
Right, right. I can imagine with something like Kali's new album and like all of the music videos and everything that went along with it, there's a lot of different things that you have to make sure are like super consistent. And that is something I noticed like as a fan, like even down to like the tour outfits, like everything is so specific in one like kind of old romantic, like very feminine style. And I love it. It like marries the music so well. Going back to fashion, everything goes back.
Yeah, that was very intentional, and I'm grateful that you saw it in that way because that was the intention. Yeah.
It landed. It landed. It was great. Yes, yes. Going more into your roster, obviously you have Kali Uchis, but you work with like so many artists. It's so diverse, like Ice Spice and Doechii. How do you tailor your approach for each artist?
I think there is honestly, like, it's important for me to have a little bit of myself, like see a little bit of myself in each artist, right? So
Mhm.
like Ice Spice, she's fun, it's ass shaking, it's like out with the girls this weekend. And I'm
Yes.
a fun person in nature. I am an outside girl. I love outside. So it is really it's fun. So I tap into that version of myself. With the artists like Doechii, like she really I almost sometimes think like she's an artist that was created for me. Like she's introspective. There's similar challenges in this space as just being a woman, and then not only that, being a Black woman, and then not only that, being a dark skinned Black woman. So there's a lot of elements that like I just identify with her as an artist, and so the depth of
Yeah.
me attaches to that artist, and I find that very easy because it's like I am not only working the project, I'm also a consumer, so what would I like to see? um so that, to me, that's kind of the superpower of it. Like
Yeah.
I want to take anything on that I don't see myself in. I'm sure I could do the challenge, but it's like I think that relatability element really helps, and I think that's why it's super important in the industry to have diversity and have people that look like the projects that they're working on, because you
Yeah.
can't kind of fake that.
Yeah, for sure. I
Mhm.
feel like it reads as like way more genuine too when the entire team is like not only supporting but also like a fan and like a genuine believer of the work that they're
Yeah.
working on. So yeah, no, I love that. Um, have you ever had to convince an artist to try something that's like really outside their comfort zone, or do you normally like stick with what their vision is?
No, I hate sticking with what they're really. I mean, my job, for instance, you have an artist like Doechii who is so profoundly creative, right?
Yeah.
I there's I'm there as a support and a guiding light to get her where she needs. Those visions are her own. I'm not
Yeah.
imparting any of my anything. Sometimes the things that are brought to us, we're like, oh, gag, like that's amazing.
Mhm.
So there's artists like that who just really get it, and they have it. And then there's other artists that you may have to build out the world for them, and you may have to usher them through it, and you may have to hold their hand while executing. But I think um the most important thing is like them having faith and trust, and seeing that you have a vision for them, because I think not all artists approach it knowing what they want to be. They maybe just like love the art of singing or rapping
Right.
or whatever, but the all the other elements, you don't go into being an artist thinking like, oh shit, I need to know this, I need to know choreography, I need to have that. You like that's once in a lifetime. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of learnings that I have the skills for. And so I think there's faith there that just allows, artists to kind of trust and say, I wouldn't normally dye my hair this color, but for you, I
Yeah.
will. And then when it starts to hit, you're like, see, I told you.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's like, would you say is like one of the key factors in building that kind of trust and creative partnership with the artists that you work with?
I I approach all of my artists as if they're human beings. I
Mhm.
don't I I'm not a fan first. I'm a
Yeah.
human being with a job that has a family, and they're the same. You're a human being with a job that has a family, and I think that element really disarms people, and then allows you guys to build rapport, because just think about it, like if I'm a human meeting a human, and we know we have something to do, and we have to create a rapport and build together. It's much more easier if I'm just like, if I came to you versus if I came to you as like someone who's like, oh my God, I'm so ecstatic. It's like, I
Right.
know.
Yeah.
So my approach, and it's always been my approach. Like I'm not a really starstruck person. Or the people I'm starstruck by are like people that you wouldn't assume. Like I don't think if I saw Beyonce, I'd be like, I think I'd be like, oh, okay. Versus like,
That's a power.
yeah, but it's
I feel
like
like
the
not many people have that.
people I'm starstruck by, like the
Yeah.
random editor at some magazine. If I saw them, I'd be like, so I
Oh, for
think
sure.
it's just like what your value system is. So I honestly like, although I am a fan, I'm a human first, and I like to approach it that way.
Yeah, I feel like that's a super important trait to have, like, not just in your field, but in, like, literally every field ever, like, no matter who you're working with, we're all human, we all breathe, and,
Yeah.
like, that's all, just keep working.
100%.
Okay, let's talk career highlights. Obviously, we talked about Dochi, so we can start with that. Obviously, Alex Alligator Bites Never Heal was such a huge project, still is such a huge project, and the journey to the Grammys and the VMAs was just insane. Could you walk us through what that experience was like from your side? Maybe share some like little memorable stories. I know it's a super broad question, but I just wanted to give you the floor to talk about this
No,
huge project.
I think in the most recent history or my most recent past, Sochi would be a career highlight. I mean, when she won, we kind of all won, right? There was
Yeah.
proof of concept. Dochi was one of the first artists that I got on my roster, and I think I was super dedicated to the project because, like I mentioned earlier, like I saw myself in her, and I
Mhm.
think there was a willingness to like, and we had a few. I'll just say we had a few regime changes from a leadership perspective, and but the team stayed the same. So it was just like knowing it was going to work, right?
Mhm.
Knowing it was having the faith that like we believe and and kind of just like leaning into that. So I think it was like interesting because we were seeing what we all knew, the star power, come to life, and we were seeing the world see it in real time,
Yeah.
and seeing it happen. I wouldn't say overnight, but like the project came to us. We found out about the project 2 weeks before it released.
Oh my god.
So there was, so it also is a testimony to like, and I love to say this for artists, like once you release a project, the work is not done,
Mhm.
like you have so much work. I mean, Jochi is a perfect example of like the monthly listeners to when it came out to where it is now is kind of insane. I mean, the album is probably platinum at this point. Like
Mhm.
when it came out, it wasn't, I don't even know what it did week one. I don't remember, but I think growing with her was, I've never experienced anything like that in my life, and like that was one of the most beautiful experiences. I think I probably shed tears multiple times because
Aw.
the wins that she's making are the wins that I'm making, the team is making, and she's
Mhm.
making it for us. And she's taken so many opportunities to shout out the team, say our, and I think it's important when artists say your name
Yeah.
in spaces so people know like, oh, those are the people that actually were along the journey with her. And so that is like to date and probably will always be one of my career highlights. Like that was the Grammys. I mean, we just
Mhm.
got um VMAs for Anxiety, and that was, oh my god, 2 days of just incredible shooting. I mean, 20 like the turnover on time and like getting the edit done and going into OT and all the different elements, like you see your hard work being rewarded. So still today, top tier.
Yeah. I can imagine, especially you said, like, she's one of the first artists you brought on, so going from, like, bringing that on to her winning the Grammy, like, I can imagine that was just, like, such a fulfilling, like, full circle kind of moment.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, switching gears to Ice Spice, another amazing artist on your roster. What has been your favorite project with her so far?
I'm trying, we're in the
If
weeds
you
of it.
if you can name one.
um it's all just so fun.
Yeah.
She is a very fun project. It's fun. There's chaos, but there's also like it's just always chaotic. They're always doing something. She's such a beautiful girl. She's so sweet. Um and I just it's always fun. Like I can't pick one thing. I mean, and also like I've had so many opportunities. I was able to travel to London and shoot with her, and Miami, and then New York, and like there's just a lot of opportunity on that project, and it's just fun. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah. How do you bring your vision to life while staying true to that like fun, like free style and just like the energy that she has? Or I guess your vision might be fun at this
Yeah.
point.
I was like,
Yeah.
well, it's fun. I think that's her artist proposition, really. Like
Right.
you listen to Ice Spice to have fun, right? She's your
Mhm.
get ready music. She's your like I was saying earlier, like girls shaking ass music. Like you want to have fun. So she's not someone that you're like, oh, I'm looking to get like, whatever it is. She is going to make you have a good time. And I
Mhm.
think when we approach all of the things that we do with her in that same way, because I think if we approach it in any other way, it may not hit because that's just not her artist proposition. That's not what she's, here to do.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it just works, and people love looking at her. So I think the focus is always maybe having her front of frame and then having fun with it. Just as
Yeah,
much as
makes
fun
sense.
on the screen, we're having behind the scenes.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet. No, I love her. She's so great. I feel like that's so important too to like have in the music scene, like especially the forefront, is just someone who's like so themselves and just fun, like having fun being themselves and just
Yeah,
happy to like be authentic and awesome. She's just awesome.
100%. Yeah.
Um, yeah, thank you for like all of your amazing answers so far. This has been such a great conversation. Everyone watching, I just am putting out a little casual reminder to ask your questions in the chat. Obviously, we want to make your time with Chase as valuable for you as possible. Okay, back into questions. So this is more less about like the artist you're working with specifically and more just about like the general industry. We touched on this earlier. It's such like a fast moving industry and like digital culture is just constantly changing and evolving.
Mhm.
How do you stay ahead of trends and like keep your campaigns fresh?
I think staying ahead of trends is creating the trends, right?
Hmm.
So I don't think that I don't know, and I think this maybe came from my marketing background where it's like we have I worked at a very like culture focused agency called Cashmere Agency for a little while, and we were culture. So we were
Yeah.
setting the trends. And so my mind is conditioned to think about what can we do that would be the first to do. So I'm like trends cool, right? But I think I'm more focused in like what can we do that's innovative and new and that no artist is doing. I mean, no, like none of us are recreating the wheel, right? But we're
Right.
all presenting the wheel in different ways. So I try my hardest not to be like, oh, so and so did that. Let's now do that. It's like, how can we innovate and do things different? And
Hmm.
how, and I'm just been blessed to have artists that are trendsetters, like I had her curly fro, and then all of a sudden everybody is like, "Oh, chopped curly
Hmm.
fro." I'm like, exactly. So in our next trend, it's she's got a new color and a new style. It's like we're setting the trends. It may you may have seen it done, but like making it more popular and executing in a new way is it. So I like to follow trends. I like to see what people are
Yeah.
doing, but then I'm like, I'm not. I'm not the type of person like follow suit. I'm like, okay, what can we do different?
Yeah. How do
Mm.
you know, like, obviously you don't look at a trend and recreate it to a T, but taking inspiration from like what's trending and what's popular at the moment, how do you know when something is worth leaning into versus skipping completely?
Quite honestly, it's like I gauge. Um, it's interesting because I'm like the people that are within culture. I'm a good judge of like character and like what I won't say I'm a good judge of like character per se, but I like to see like who's tapped into this, who's talking about
Mm,
this, who's kind of in the know on this. Like I love to tap into things that like haven't really broke yet.
mhm,
That makes sense. Like so it's interesting. I just like to pay attention to like who is tapped in, who's paying attention, who's like making note of it, and then I'm like, okay, maybe we should be over here with it.
Yeah.
So that's important to me because I also don't want something like everybody's. I've never been that type of person. Like everybody's wearing these sunglasses. I don't want them.
Yeah.
Let's find out who the brand that has like cool designs that you can link up with, that you kind of understand the brand's theme and da 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 da. Like that's more important to me, and I think that helps kind of create culture in itself and create the trend.
Mhm. Yeah, totally agree. I feel like authenticity is something that's like super important too, and that's such like a not buzzword, but such like a the word that I hear all the time is like, oh, is she authentic? Is it coming from a place of like reality? Is it rooted in authenticity? And I feel like just following like um, surface level trends is a really good way to not be authentic. So I think like what you're saying, like looking deeper and like beyond that and into the culture and what inspires that is like really awesome.
100%.
Okay, I do have a question from the chat from people who smile here.
That's cute.
They say, I know, like, let's go smiling. This say might be a basic one, but what's your dream collaboration?
Okay, so this is gonna be very cheesy, but
Mhm.
like I was saying earlier, my husband is in the industry and he's a AD. So he did one video with me in life. He did the Princess Diana, Ice Spice, and Nicki Minaj video, and that was very early in my career
Yeah.
at Capital, and so I didn't really get to take it in the way I want to. So my dream collab is getting another opportunity to work with my husband.
Hmm.
Even though
So sweet.
yeah, he's very deep in the fashion industry, so he doesn't really tap into the fashion, the music side anymore. But like, I would love it if like it was, one of my faves from an artist perspective, and one of his faves from like a fashion photography perspective, and then him
Hmm.
like that would be my dream collab because
Oh
it's just
yeah.
it's just fun and you feel safe and you feel like you can, I don't know, be yourself. Um, and my husband's my safe space. So I'm like, that would be my dream club. It's a little cliche, but I would love an opportunity to work with him.
No, no, it's sweet. My music industry power couple. We got it. We got to get them together.
Yeah.
This is another question from the chat from it's Ari Eve. How do you best pitch your ideas and ensure the room has creative trust in you?
Um, I come from the world of deck making, so a
Mm.
deck.
Yeah.
You have to make it visual. You can chat somebody up and like they can get it, but pen to paper is what makes it real.
Mhm.
So I put the idea in a deck. I'm so consumed, so I have people who help me make my decks, but I came from a world where you're like in those decks, picking the colors and dropping in the, whatever. And then I've just all my life, whenever you had to pitch ideas, you had to put it in the deck. So
Mhm.
that's how you do. You have an idea, you put in a deck and you pitch it, and that's kind of how you get the trust because people are able to visually see what you're trying to communicate.
Yeah, I love that. I'm also a big believer in decks, and I feel like it's kind of fun too, like to
Yeah,
match like the deck to like the theme of whatever project you're pitching. Like,
like a mood board or something to like
yes.
make the vision real.
Yeah, and I feel like it makes such an impact even just, like, seeing a picture as inspo. They're like, "Oh, now we have, like, something to tie these words to," and it's
Now
not
I
just
get
like
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
100%.
that makes total sense. Um, I'm gonna do one more question from the chat and then get back to this. This is from I See You Know. How do you suggest someone I'm like, "Okay." How do you suggest someone go about switching careers into more of this lane, this being, music and creative direction, I assume?
That's so interesting. I'm a big LinkedIn girl. I'm not,
Mhm.
it's interesting. I'm a big LinkedIn girl, but not a big LinkedIn girl. So like
Mhm.
I'm a researcher, I guess, but I'm not like, the chats and posting and all of that. But I did so much research on people, and that was interesting. Like going into this space, there wasn't a lot of people that looked like me. And I think today there's still not a lot of people that look like me in the creative space. Not that it's across the industry. I'm just talking about in particular in the creative space.
Right.
And so the people that did, I just did a lot of research on what they did and created rapport with them and created relationships around them to kind of get the insight. And then when the opportunity came, I was at the forefront of those conversations because I was in their faces, or I was taking meetings with them, I was talking to them. So I think if there's a career switch, make yourself well versed in the career that you want to go into. Like, have an
Mhm.
understanding of exactly what that person does, talk to people in it. And then also find out, like, it's so interesting. A lot of my skills from, like, social media and all of that quite easily transfer into what I'm doing now. It also gives me not a I'll call it a magic power, because it's like I'm able to speak to what other departments do. So I haven't just always been in creative production. I know when people are talking about influencers and talking about KPIs on certain things for, digital. I'm like, "Oh, I understand that." And so
Yeah.
I'm able to think through how the things I'm doing can layer into the things that, other cross-functional teams are doing as well. So I just think thinking through what you're doing now, how that relates to what you want to do, and then creating relationships in those spaces so that those people know I'm trying to come over there where you are.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about networking.
Mhm.
Everything goes back to networking.
Yeah.
But I love that.
Mhm.
Well, you touched on this in the answer you just gave, like given your background in influencer and social marketing.
Mhm.
How do you go about approaching projects that go beyond music and into brand collaborations and like the cross media storytelling kind of space?
Um, that's interesting because I have like for instance, you see a lot of integrations in videos, right? Like you see a lot of brands that
Hmm.
want to, be a part of videos and how those make sense. I think for me, it's always important for it to be authentic.
Hmm.
Um, I know like back in the day, videos would just be like, "Hey, champagne bottle, yeah," and like you kind
Hmm.
of, okay, that's a contribution. I love for my integrations to feel organic. Like, okay, this is how I would naturally interact with said product. And I don't like to put my artists in a position where they look like they're selling things. Like that to
Yeah.
me is a little like it's a little backhanded, it's a little like and it's it's sell it I just don't like that. So I like it to be like something natural and then something that can extend past the video. I think that's an added value to not only the brand but also our artists, because it's like, okay, if you genuinely would be in the shower using whatever product, that's
Hmm.
okay because they're contributing to your vision and you're also contributing to theirs. So that's kind of how I see that working.
Yeah, that makes sense. As like a consumer, I feel like I can definitely tell when something is like product placement just for the
Yeah,
sake of putting it in there.
can't
Um,
stand it. I'm like,
yeah,
ugh.
and I'm just like, "You're just forcing it, girl." Like, I know that Doechii does not eat this cereal. Put it down.
Yeah, I'm like, this
Um,
this works.
exactly, exactly. Um, Okay, next up, I mean, obviously, not every project goes perfectly, whether it is like a brand collaboration or just any kind of like creative project that you're working on. Could you share a moment where something didn't go as planned and what you learned from that experience and like turning challenges into creative growth, kind of?
Yeah, I'm actively going through that right now. Um, I have a No, I have a video that I think in the moment we were shooting and we were having fun and all of that, but the edit is coming back and it's just not where it needs to be. And this is where, like I was mentioning earlier, it's super important to have the problem solving skills and not just be like, frantic. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
cool. How can we solve this? Where's that artist now? What clips can I capture? What can I layer in? What are like immediately going to solving the problem? I try my hardest not to get emotional about it or be like, oh, this sucks. It's like, regardless, I have to find a way to get the win, right?
yeah,
And so having been in this space where you shelved videos or you shelved certain photos, and it's like it's all about what are the options that we have at play, right? And then considering where the artist is, the different factors, budget, where they are in their spend, all of that. um I think is a super important part of it, but that's something we deal with on the regular, right? Like
yeah,
you take photos, you it's so funny with ice. We took pictures in one hair color, and then when we got them back, the hair color had changed. So you're like, okay, what is the solve here? I can't throw away all these photos. Cool, we've got editing software that can change the hair color. So you have to just think through a solve, and
Mhm.
if there is no solve, be honest about what happened, and lay it out. I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna pass on die behind this. It's like, no, you guys, things happen. We're human.
Yeah.
But I try to salvage and save and protect and do all in the solving things before it goes to that.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna say, like, I can imagine it might be tough to not, like, get discouraged when things
Yeah,
don't work out, but when you have that kind of, like, problem-solving mindset, it's like, we don't have time to get discouraged because 'cause we're already thinking about the next steps and the solutions and all of that.
100%. And I'm not easily discouraged. I've just never been that type of person. So I'm just like, okay, what are we gonna do to solve it?
Exactly. We're optimists here. We're
Yeah,
optimists.
extremely. Yeah.
That's great though, like, I get, like, a lot of my friends are like, "Via, you're, like, an annoying optimist," and it's like, "No, no, you guys just don't get it."
Yeah, literally, it's a type of character. Like I'm
Right,
no
right.
this one. But I think it's been a beautiful thing in my life because people doubt or say, "Oh, how are you gonna do that?" And the next thing later, I'm like pulling up in what I said I was gonna do.
Mhm,
And you're
mhm,
like,
proving them
I
wrong.
do.
This is why we must believe.
Yeah.
Um, okay. This is for everyone watching who's like a student, early career folks wanting to get into this industry. And this is a super general question, but it's always helpful. Do you have any advice you would give someone trying to break into? We can make it specific, like creative production and artist campaigns, and then maybe we can expand.
Yeah, I think knowing what you're good at. I will say my number one pet peeve is when people come to me and they do everything. That
Mm,
frustrates me a little bit because it's like, no, what are you good at? You will have an opportunity in your career to do everything, right? When I came into this role, I was a video commissioner and all I did was videos. Now I do photo shoots, physical packaging, creative direction, leading the vision, like strategic design around that. Like my role has expanded, but I came into this very clear on like I do production. I understand production. I understand all the elements into production and your role expands. So what I think it's important is for someone to find out what you're good at because you'll be able to pick up skills and different things as you go in your career. I would just say focus on what you're good at, finding the people that do what you're good at, and building rapport and relationships with them. And being super diligent about where you want to be. Don't take no for an answer. Have the conversations. Don't be scary. Reach out to the people. Pitch yourself. Do all the things that you like. You hear people say.
yeah,
Um, I mean, and they do work. And you also have to stand out. I don't know what to say about that. It's not necessarily a physical thing, but like we had a really good intern class this last summer, and there was just a few people that just like really stood out, and they went the extra mile. They took meetings with people, and you don't forget them. And so then when there's an opportunity that comes up, you're like, hey, let me find that guy that was really, really good and was super charismatic and was bringing ideas and was sharing decks and it was all that. And he took advantage of the opportunity. You're always going to be looking for a spot for them because you're like, wow, that was so impressive. So be that person. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
yeah, something I feel like I hear a lot that, like, goes with what you said at the end is say yes to everything. Like, when
Mhm.
there is an opportunity in front of you, just, like, take it and do the best you can with it, and that would, like, help stand out, so
I think yes, in theory.
yes,
I
and.
yes, but I think yes to everything. But I remember there was a time there where it was like, um, I think you also have to see your value in things. And I
Mhm.
think saying yes to everything will sometimes put you in a cycle of like being such a you have to see yourself in value. So I think yes to the opportunities that make sense for you, but I think strategically just don't put yourself in every situation, because there's a, you know what I mean? Like, you have
Yeah.
to make sense of things. And I often have these conversations with my husband and my best friend, and different things of like, you could say yes, but what are the opportunity costs? I don't know if that was in college or high school that we learned about opportunity costs and all of that.
Mhm.
Like, I that sat with me, because it's like, what are you forgoing to create this opportunity? Like, what are you, what are the scales? And I think it's super important to, yes, say yes, but at what cost? Make sure that that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's like, because people do take advantage of things. It's just the world we live in, and so you want to make sure that you are doing things that are gonna put you in position to be where you want to be, not just saying yes because you're able to.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. Um, this is a question from the chat. When you lead a team of creatives, how do you balance allowing them creative freedom versus knowing personally when something is correct or incorrect? So kind of also going into like being realistic with like saying yes.
I think I'm just a very honest and transparent person. So like, if the ideas come, I'm like, oh, that's great, but I don't really, this is why I would say it should go this way, or why this won't necessarily work. Like, I just think it's in my nature to just be honest about things. But
Mhm.
I never shut anything down. Like, what is your idea? Let's explore it. How can we do it? How can we expand upon it, or make it greater than what it already is? But then, you know, like I said, I'm like, let's try anything. You just don't know until you get a no. And
Right.
then also, when you maybe get that no, it's like, okay, did you say no, but, or did you just say like no, no? Like, it's
Mhm.
also like exploring what that no is, because not every no is like a no, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's like a no, not right now, no, but no, whatever. So I just try to be like, okay, cool, like, let's explore it, let's dig through it, let's spend time on it, and then go that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe like spinning the idea to make
Yeah,
it
yeah.
more appropriate for the situation rather than just shutting it down completely.
100%.
Yeah, makes sense. Is there anything that you wish you knew starting out, whether that be starting out in the music industry or starting out in general marketing, where you like got your roots?
Hmm. um yeah, I think it's, I am just as important as our CEO, and everybody else on the
Mhm.
team is important as our CEO or anybody else, right? And I'm saying CEO because it's like the biggest chair in the
Yeah.
hierarchy of the company. But I just think when you see yourself, it makes you a better person for the team. So I think I would have told myself at the beginning that, like, it's okay to fight for yourself. It's okay to advocate for yourself. It's
Mhm.
okay to believe in what you should get done, or believe in what you deserve as well, right? I would say, and then take note of your wins, right? Because there's going to become a time where someone is going to ask you to prove yourself to them. And if you haven't taken note of the wins that you've had, or the processes that you've implemented, or the teams that you've helped, you
Mhm.
won't have that information when someone is basically questioning your value. So I would tell my younger self to, like, you are just as important as anybody else on the team, and it is okay to see that.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. That's like I feel like that can also just be general life advice. Like
Yeah.
everyone, know your worth no matter where you are. Yeah. Are there any specific like skills or experiences you would recommend someone focus on at like the start of their career? I mean, obviously you just said like knowing your worth and advocating for yourself, but
Mhm.
so maybe experiences is like a better way to take this.
I would say, like, no, like, okay, so knowing what you're naturally good at, like,
Mhm.
knowing what you're naturally good at and using that to be good at what you want to do, if that makes sense, right? Like,
Yeah.
I naturally know that I have certain processes that help me, organize certain things, and then I have a creative mind. But, you know, I took the things that I'm good at just naturally, like what you find out as a kid. Oh, my daughter's good at reading, or my daughter's good at math, and using that in the skills that you do day to day in your work, right? I'm not good at math, so that is not one of the skills that I put, forward.
Right.
Or and I lean on people for that. Like, where's your calculator? Or where's Excel doc that I can do these calculations in? But I'm really
Mhm.
good at organizing things. So I'm really good at building out a bid, or reviewing certain things. So I would say, like, figuring out what you're naturally good at and how you can layer that into your day-to-day process at work.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense.
Mhm.
Um, was there ever a moment, obviously you could like prepare as much you want for like a project, a campaign, even like an interview. Was there
Mhm.
ever a moment in, I'm sure there was, but maybe something that sticks out in like any of this process that just completely like surprised you and took you like completely off guard?
Yeah, transparent moment. We had a very, like, interesting and unique merger recently. And so back to kind of what I was saying is, like, valuing yourself, knowing your worth. I In the previous regime, I was on track for certain growth in my career. The new regime did not know me, and I think that it people can be defeated in that, right? Like, you're like, wow, I now have to, or there was delay in process. So I now had to, basically present myself to a whole new regime and have them see the value. And I think that could be quite deterring to some people, and they would just either give up, and like, because you think you're, hey, I'm on my trajectory is here, just see my trajectory. But the reality is those people do not know me, and I now have to find a whole new set of skills or projects or work in the process in which they like, or figure out the process that they like. And so that was something that came out of left field that I kind of hadn't really dealt with before. And so there was a lot of talking to friends and a lot of inner work and a lot of, like, counseling that I needed through that, because it could be, like a smack to the face. We were like, wait, a heavy hitter. I was a star player. I did all these things. And now there's a new coach. And I'm like, duh. But they're like, we don't know how you play. We don't know your reputation. You may not play how I like to play. And so
Yeah.
that was, that was, that was really tough. And it was, I'm proud of myself because I came out of it with what I wanted, you know. Um, but it's difficult because, I take a lot of pride in what I do, and I take note of my value and all of these different things that I had mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
Um, but I hadn't experienced, like, blatantly someone not seeing it. So it was difficult, but it ended up working out. So
Yes, clearly.
but that was something I was like, ah, shit, I wasn't ready for that. Um,
Mhm.
but it worked out.
Yes, yes. When you're in, like, those moments of, like, this didn't work out or this went, um, the way I didn't expect it to, like, what drives you to be like, "I will get this done, I will overcome this," like, no matter what?
I think I love challenges. Like, I think
Mhm.
I'm one of those people who's like, okay, bet I'm gonna take this on. Even though it was a little frustrating, it was a little like, oh, like this was already in the works, and there was definitely some tears. um I was just like, you know what, I don't know, something in my spirit, something in my gut was like, this isn't the end for this. You got to prove through. And I would say, if I hadn't given up, I don't think I would have been a part of the Dochi rollout, and some of these major campaigns, the Cali rollout, things that have, like, literally changed my career.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been a part of them. So that was super important to me.
Yeah, yeah, I love that, I love that. Um, when you were just starting out as well, did you have, like, a mentor figure and, like, people to look up to? I know you said you kind of started by, like, connecting with a bunch of people, on, like, LinkedIn and stuff like that, but was
Yeah.
there, like, someone who you were like, "This person taught me everything," or were you kind of, like, teaching yourself as you went and using feedback as, like, knowledge points? I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. I would definitely say the latter. I think
Mhm.
there I've had a tough time with leadership. It not like not now, but just saying like general like finding mentors and having that rapport and building this relationship. I haven't had many mentors or people that just hasn't been my experience in my career
Yeah,
growth. Um, and I think that's fine. I think, you know, I am a little self-taught, a little self-challenged, a little self like in those realms. So like, no, I didn't have, you know, a go-to mentor. But it's super important for me to be a mentor.
for
So
sure.
almost like you hear those like cliche stories like raising my child is raising my inner child.
Yeah.
And I'm not a mom yet, so I don't know, but I kind of get that feeling, you know, like I have a few mentees that I'm just like, I'm gonna let you see everything. I'm gonna pull
Mhm.
the complete like curtain back. I'm gonna let you see how I built this, and there's no, um, I don't know, I can't think of the term right now, but like I'm not hiding anything. You're gonna see everything. You're gonna see how I work, how I get down. You can figure out your own process, but you're gonna experience everything because I did not have that. So I want
Right.
to be the mentor that people will go to other people and be like, you know what, when I worked with Chase, it was phenomenal. She'd let me see everything. She didn't, you know, gatekeep. And that was the phrase, gatekeep, damn it.
Mhm, mhm.
She didn't gatekeep anything. She really was open. And it's super important for me to be that way because I don't know. I think that sharing is very Barney, but sharing is caring. And I'm just very open
Exactly.
to like giving my skill set to other people, you know,
Yeah.
because my husband says this all the time, like the PA today may be the EP tomorrow.
Mhm.
So it's just super important to me because I don't know when I'll ever be in a position where I need someone to see me. So it's, yeah, that's kind of my mentor story that I'm mentoring to others that then mentors me.
Yeah. Do you
Weird cycle.
ever no. Do you ever, like, find it difficult in a way to, like, let go of maybe control is the wrong word, but, like, let people in on, like, such a, like, deep level for, like, your career, or are you ever, like, almost protective of your work?
No, mm-mm. I'm
That's
not.
perfect. That's good.
Yeah, I'm also not protective with my life, if that makes sense. Like,
Mhm.
I protect my life, but I'm very open with my experiences. I'm very open with how I got to certain places and what things I do. I'm an open book. You can sit with me and be like, "Hey, Chase, how'd you meet your husband?" And I'll tell you the whole, or "Hey, Chase, how'd you get?" I'll tell you everything step by step because I really care about people winning because
Yeah.
uh, I would say an underdog in life, you know,
Mhm.
and I never want to I don't know, I don't like the idea of it, and so I'm just very open with everyone and everything in life. I'm just an open book. So it's across
Mhm.
career, it's across life, it's across it all.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's a sign of, like, a great mentor is, like, someone who's not afraid to, like, share everything, so I'm sure
Yeah,
the people working with you are aware of how lucky they are to be in that
oh,
position.
thanks.
Yes, yes, just sharing love and positivity here on this call.
Yeah.
Um, well, that honestly wraps up our time here
This has
at
been so fun.
58. I know this has been so amazing. Thank you so much for, like, doing this and sharing your amazing stories and advice and all of those behind the scenes insights. You really are, like, leaving such an incredible mark on the music industry,
Thank
and
you.
it's just great to see that kind of success and this kind of growth and all of that, and obviously awesome to hear from you today. I feel like I just got, like, a master class in, like, creative production, artist collaboration, and just, like, general life advice. I'm like, "Okay,
Oh,
like,
thank
yes.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. Yes, of course. And to everyone watching as well, thank you so much for your questions and energy in the chat. This episode and all future and past episodes will be up on the 3.5 YouTube channel, so make sure to catch that. And yeah, until next time, this was Behind the Business. Peace. Peace out.